What's going on, everyone? My name is Jax, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going back in time, just 1 year. We're actually looking back at last year's Mystery Synergies. There was a ton. I mean, there was 11 in total, which is pretty much a record for Kabam in 1 year. I really hope that continues this year in 2023. But for last year, there were 9 synergies that were filled and 2 Mystery Synergies that will be filled, hopefully this year. And obviously, there was one synergy last year that didn't come out last year, but got filled, which was the Falcon and Valkyrie synergy, which was quite an interesting one that took a year and a half. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video and kind of go over them just real quick. Kind of like look back in time, like, hey, these 9 have been filled and these 2 haven't, and just go over what they're referencing, and also talk about the 2 final ones, like, hey, who could this be from the comics, MCU, etc. It should be a really fun. This is my graphic that I made with Mr. King and Bowtie Man. They are both lore aficionados, theory crafting. It's one of my favorite things with the contest, and I'm sure you guys enjoy it as well. But yeah, so these are all 11, and we're going to start off with Toads. Toads in My Nature synergy. Obviously a reference to the fable itself. The fable of the frog and the scorpion. The frog and the scorpion have to cross a stream. Scorpion needs the frog. The scorpion, stings the frog when they're midway in the side of the stream, and they both drown. And he says, "Sorry, it's in my nature." So yeah, obviously a clear reference to that fable. I mean, there really wasn't anyone else. I mean, so it was quite obvious. Obviously, we had when this came out, we had already knew that April would be a Spider-Man event, and Scorpion. Yeah, I kind of confirmed it for sure. And kind of similar with Misty Knight came to the game. She had a Heroes for Hire synergy, and we clearly knew that was Black Cat from the comics. I saw some people saying, at that time, Colin Wing. I want to see Colin Wing in the game for sure, and a return to the MCU. But I knew it was for Black Cat because with that tease last year. Now I'm gonna skip the Captain Britain and Black Cat. Same reason, really, is like it's so clearly, obviously, Black Cat back then. It had Domino and Longshot, both luck powers, luck pace powers. Black Cat, another character with luck based powers, so it was an easy one. Though I don't know what Captain Britain had. Like I never knew Captain Britain had lucky powers, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, we're gonna go straight into May with the Mordo buff, which was a cool thing. I think buff. In fact, if you're gonna buff a character and then you get Mystery Synergy, that's so cool. But yeah, and obviously this actually came out the same month the month before the character came out. So cool nods is like before you kind of see a little pattern here. It's either a month, couple months, and we'll get to Falcon. It's a year and a half, but it's kind of cool that when we do get a Mystery Synergy, it's only like 4 months usually, so at max, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, Mordo synergy, a clear reference to the MCU. He at the post-credit scene is him saying what's wrong with this world is that there's too many sorcerers, which ties to Wiccan being a sorcerer. At that time when I made that video, you can go find on my channel, I said it could have been Wiccan, or Spidey Supreme, or Agatha, who's joining hopefully this year, or Clea when she joins, either from the MCU comics. So yeah, either could have. Everyone kind of figured it probably was Wiccan at the time he joined, and kind of the same reason for the next one, Next in Line synergy, which this one was a cool reference to the comics. Basically, Doctor Strange abused his powers and lost his title of Sorcerer Supreme, and so he had to go out and find candidates and say, hey, are you willing to be the Sorcerer Supreme, etc. And he had a lot of candidates, and it's pretty cool. And yes, Billy was one of them. Magic as well, which she was part of that synergy, and so it actually did pass to Dr. Voodoo, which was pretty awesome. So part of that synergy as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool from the comics, and even in another universe, Wiccan is the Sorcerer Supreme. So kind of a cool, like the Sorcerer Supreme comics with like Kushala and Merlin. Kushala's in there, so kind of cool. Another, maybe they can add on to that synergy once Kushala joins the game. Justice for Kushala from the second Summoner's Choice. Now the next one is the Falcon and Valkyrie synergy, like the longest mystery synergy in game to date, from a year and a half. Is just insane, man. Insane, like from his buff. Yeah, I think this is an MCU reference. It's weird because like Valkyrie, the one in the MCU, is based off the comics, but then they added the MCU version in the comics. So I can't I can kind of can't really clearly find the comic version, the first comic version of Valkyrie with Falcon. I think maybe there's a Defenders comics I'm thinking, or an Avengers comic, but if not, the MCU is the clear one. You know, they all fought in the Battle of Endgame against Thanos, so you know, clearly counts. The next one is Titania's Masters of Evil Horrible Boss synergy with Zemo. Clearly, I thought this was Zemo as well. Yeah, there wasn't anyone else really, because she only had really been under him as a boss. I think there was like another thing with she's been on different teams, but it clearly didn't have bosses, so I just knew it was Zemo. Especially him when he finished in the semifinals of the second Summoner's Choice. We knew it was happening. And similar to Atuma's Fear Itself synergy, which is so cool, because I was so happy when I found the synergy, because at that time when Titania came to the game, I was like so thinking Absorbing Man was coming with her, but it didn't happen. But the next month, you know, it's or the 2 months later, it teased him, so I was pretty happy. Besides the wallpaper when she was on the Wrecking Ball. So yeah, I mean, Fear Itself, cool comic if you haven't checked it out. You know, it's got Thing, Hulk, Atuma, Juggernaut, Grey Gargoyle, Zorman, Titania, and Sin. So all the worthy, but pretty awesome to tease that comic. Next one is Mantis's Put the Guard in the Guardian synergy. I think this is clearly Adam Warlock. You know, there are some candidates, but, you know, with his MCU debut, I gotta say, it's probably him. Kabam Gabriel Frazero, the former creative director at the Kabam, when he was on our podcast, X Interviews, he said Adam Warlock has been on the back burner because we haven't found the right event to add him into the game. What better event than his MCU debut? I mean, come on. Especially with when we got that tease the first day of this year, the Maze event, basically teasing a new Guardian and like a hero Guardian. You know, it could be Beta Ray Bill or Moondragon or Philavel or other Guardians, but you know, I gotta say it's probably MCU. They even showed the logo for Guardians Volume 3, so I gotta say it's probably Adam Warlock. And even then, Adam Warlock can come with High Evolutionary, the villain of the movie, so I think it'd be perfect. Yeah, though I gotta say the suit, man, I like it, kind of. I wish it had more black. I like the comics look where it's got that black but the red on the black and the golden hair and golden glowy eyes. I don't know. We'll see. Now, the next one is Jessica Jones' Alumni synergy. Now, this one is a weird one because it's weird because Jessica Jones was in the class she was in class with Peter Parker. But what happened, and it inspired her to become a hero, seeing Peter or Spider-Man fight Sandman in class. But then she got into a coma, so she didn't actually finish high school. She was just known as Coma Girl, but in this flashback, she even had a crush on Peter. So in the flashback, it shows Liz Allen, who you've probably know from the MCU, but in the Ultimate Universe, she was actually Firestar. So you know, I don't really think it's teasing her, but you know, and obviously Eugene Thompson, you know, Flash Thompson, Agent Venom is already in the synergy, but. Yeah, it could be a reference to Sandman. Sandman, even in that synergy, like in that flashback, was saying, "Hey, I never graduated high school. It's time to get my diploma." So it could be a Sandman. Like it really could. We do know April is going to be a Spider-Man event as well, following X-Men event. It's just like. Not following an X-Men event like last year, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that, you know, April 2 years in a row, and yeah, so it could be a Sandman. You know, it also could be someone else who not necessarily is shown to be a classmate of Jessica Jones, but is a classmate of Peter Parker, and that was Silk. She was literally bitten by the same exact spider that bit Peter. It literally bit Peter, and then it bit her. So quite an obvious answer. I think is clear. I think it's probably Silk. But with Sandman, you know, I gotta say he's not technically in Alumni, but this whole thing could be a reference to this. I think is kind of interesting. Another interesting one is with Zemo coming to the game. He had an Invasion of the Body Snatcher synergy with actual Dr. Octopus, who becomes Superior Octopus, stealing Spider-Man's body. So kind of an interesting one, and as well Iron Spider. So both of them is Peter Parker's body. Peter Parker's already in the synergy with Jessica Jones, but maybe it could count as an alternate thing. I don't know, but it's cool. And you know, obviously there's, you know, Firestar, there's Harry Osborn, I think there's Blue Bird as well, but I really think it's clearly going to be one of these four, either Sandman, Salmon and Silk, I feel like it's most likely, but I wanted to bring the other two ones that Kabam have. It seems to be teasing, basically. You know, they teased Iron Spider before, and they seem to be teasing Superior Spider-Man in the Synergy, so who knows? Real quick, I forgot to mention the synergy with Punching Purple People, Jessica Jones, and Baron Zemo. I meant to mention this, but yeah, I forgot to. But obviously, it is Zemo in the game. He was a character I thought it was. I was more on the High Evolutionary, him being purple in the comics. Not two things, but, you know, Baron Zemo, the color of his mask in game is similar to High Evolutionary, so I wasn't that wrong. He was, you know, Baron Zemo was only my second choice though. But obviously it wasn't Kilgrave. A lot of people thought it was, but it wasn't. Just a reference to him, which, you know, it happens. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I forgot to. That's it for my video. I hope you guys enjoy. It's just fun to, you know, theory craft on the mystery synergies and hopefully see it continue. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.